Hi everyone, it's Darla from Crafty Yarn. Well, welcome. Today we're going to be crocheting this sweater. Now let me tell you how this sweater works. What you'll be doing is you'll be making a chain, a long chain that will start at the length you want your sweater, and it's going to go all the way up and all the way down your back to the length at the back. We're going to work sideways. All right, so you're going to just make row after row after row until you get near the center, and then we're going to make a neckline, and then you're going to make the same number of rows on the other side, and then we'll be crocheting the sleeves directly on. And you can make short sleeves, 3/4 length sleeves, long sleeves, whatever you desire. They're just going to be crocheted around all the way down to the length that you want. And then we'll do a little trim around the neckline and a trim around the bottom. Now let me tell you about this stitch. It's called the wattle stitch, W-A-T-T-L-E. It shrinks up your fabric quite a bit. When I was first designing this sweater, I made a chain, I did the first row, and it shrunk up my chain by 7 inches. So what I had to do was add some extra chains. So I had frogged that, and I made my chain 180. That's for me from here down here, 180, and then I added 30 more chains. It's in multiple of 3. So I added 30 more chains to make up for that shrinkage, and it ended up being the length that I wanted it to be once I crocheted up some rows. Okay, so this is a 3-weight yarn, but I'll tell you about the yarn at the beginning of this video, next actually. But you can use any weight yarn you like. You can use a 4-weight, 3-weight, 2-weight, whatever you like. This yarn was classified as a 3, but I think a lot of it was a 2 because it was a roving. But I really love how this turned out, and you can make it to your size. You just make sure you make enough rows to go here to the center, make your neckline. I show you how to do that, whatever. If you want a long lower neckline, you can do that, whatever you like. And then you make the same number of rows on that side, and we just sew it up on the sides. I show you all that. Leave holes for the arms, and then do the sleeves. So I did 33 rows for myself, 33 rows, and then another 33 rows. And I'm about a medium, between medium and a large, I guess. I mean, the girls take up, some room. But yeah, and this is the sweater you'll be making today. I would love to see your pictures in my Facebook group. If you make it, put them on your social media, share, tag me, do all that kind of thing. Share this tutorial if you enjoy it. Share it to your social media. That would be great. That would help me out so much. Thank you. Let's get started. For this sweater, I use Carnival by Hobie. It's 100% premium acrylic. This one's considered a lightweight 3. 100 grams in here, 3.5 ounces, 240 meters, 262 yards. Recommended needle is 4 to 4.5 millimeter. Recommended hook is same thing, 4 to 4.5 millimeter. This beautiful colorway is number 19. Gorgeous. Now let me tell you a little bit more about this yarn. It says it's a 3, a lightweight 3. It's a roving style. Some of the parts of the yarn are a 3, but most of it I found was more like a 2-weight. There's like really thin pieces in here. Of course, oh, here we go. There's a lot of it. Maybe I shouldn't say most. A lot of it is really, really thin. But anyway, you don't have to use this yarn. Use whatever yarn you want, whatever weight you want. So this did take a lot of this yarn, this sweater, because I found most of this was pretty thin. And this has a halo, so if you make a boo-boo, it's a little difficult to pull apart or to frog. All right, so how much of it did I use? I used a total of, might as well say, a complete 6 balls. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Of the 6th one, I had this much left. Yes, I did. The only part I really color controlled was the sleeves. What I did with the sleeves was I just started 2 balls simultaneously, starting with the outside color, which was the same on each one, and that's how I got the sleeves to come out the same, pretty much. All right, let's see, what else do we need here? I started with a 4.5 millimeter hook. That's what I used throughout this, except when I went to the sleeves. I wanted to taper the sleeves down near the, just starting above the wrist area, and I think I told you how many rows I tapered down. I switched from the 4.5 millimeter to the 4 millimeter, and then switched to the 3.5 millimeter, just to pull this in a little bit without doing any decreases, just using hook sizes. And then you're going to need probably a few stitch markers here and there. All right. Now let me tell you a little bit about the wattle stitch that we're going to be using, W-A-T-T-L-E. It shrinks up your chain a lot. I had originally chained 180, and that would have been a good length for me. But as soon as I crocheted the first row, my chain shrunk up 7 inches. So I frogged it, and then I made a chain of, again, 180, and I added 30 more. So my total chain was 210. And as I worked the wattle stitch, that as it shrunk up, it ended up being a nice length for the sweater for me. So keep that in mind. Make more chains than you need, maybe 30 extra chains. All right, so let's get started here. So the chains are in multiples of 3. Okay, just multiples of 3. So I'm using this yarn here as so you can see the stitch better. This is just going to be a sample. 1, 2, 3. So a multiple of 3 would mean your chain will be divisible by 3. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll make a few more. I'll be right back. And when you have your chain in multiples of 3, what we are going to do first is we are going to do a single crochet in the 3rd chain. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. So in that 3rd chain, make a single crochet, and then we're going to chain 1, and in that very same chain we worked in, we're going to make a double crochet. Okay, now we're going to skip 2 chains, 1, 2, go in the next one with a single crochet, a chain 1, and a double crochet. That's what we're going to do for this whole row. Skip 2 chains, go in the next one with a single crochet, a chain 1, and a double crochet in the same spot. Skip 2, go in the next one with a single crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the same chain. Okay, and again, skip 2 chains, go in the next one with a single crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet in the same spot. When you get to the end of your big long chain, you're going to have 3 chains left. We're going to skip those 2 chains, and then we're going to half double crochet in that last one. Okay, half double crochet. You will do a half double crochet at the end of every row. So there's a half double crochet, and then we're going to chain one. We'll do a chain one at the end, at the beginning, I'm sorry, of every row. Okay, turn your work. So from here we're going to go directly into that chain one space that we made between this single crochet and that double crochet. Right in that chain one space, we're going to go right in there right away, and we're going to put a single crochet, a chain one, and a double crochet. And this is our repeat row. Okay, and then you jump right over to that next chain one space right there, and you make a single crochet, chain one, double crochet. And that's all this stitch is. Go into the next chain one space. That's your double crochet, chain one, and single crochet. Go right in there, that chain one space, with a single crochet, chain one, double crochet. So as I crocheted along with in my sweater, I would, in order to find that quickly, all I do is just, you can see the little hole in there. I would stick my finger in there part way, and then I'd know, it could be easier for me to just go right in there and put my single crochet, chain one, and double crochet. Next one right there, single crochet, chain one, double crochet. Right there at the end, or close to the end, right there, single crochet, chain one, double crochet. Okay, so we're at the end of this row, and we want to put a half double crochet at the end. So the end is right down here. Okay, so make a half double crochet. Oops. Half double crochet, chain one, turn your work, and then go back into, or go into those chain one spaces between your double crochet and your single crochet, just like before. It's just repeating. Okay, go right in that middle there in your chain one space with a single crochet, chain one, double crochet. In your next space, chain one space. Oh, sorry, right here. That's your double crochet, chain one, single crochet. Right in there with your single crochet, chain one, double crochet. Next space, single crochet, chain one, double crochet. Alright, I'm at near the end of the row, so I'm going to put my last single crochet, chain one, double crochet in that chain one space, single crochet, chain one, double crochet. And then we're going to end our row with a half double crochet. So we're going to go right into the very end of the row with a half double. Okay, then we chain one, we turn our work, and we do that row again. Single crochet in that chain one space, single crochet, chain 1 and double crochet. Your next chain 1 space is right there. Single crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Next space is right there. That's your double crochet, chain 1 and single crochet from the previous row. So single crochet, chain 1, double crochet. It's a pretty easy, I think, relaxing stitch. Single crochet, chain 1, double crochet, single crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then we have one more to go into right here. Single crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then we're going to end our row by going right in the end of the row with a double crochet. I'm a half double crochet, half double. All right, chain 1, turn and continue on with your work. Take a look at what we have. This was our chain at the very beginning. Okay, so this chain you had to make long enough to go over your shoulder, from as long as you want it in the front, over your shoulder, and as long as you want it in the back, which should be the same as the front, right? All right, so that piece will go right over top of your shoulder. So now what we're working on is the width, and we're going to be making as many rows as it takes to get to the side of your neck. And of course I'll show you all that. You will then make a chain for your head to go through, and then you make the other side of your top the same number of rows you made this side, because we're working from, this is where your arm would come out. Your arm would come out here. We are going to be sewing this down to close it. That's your shoulder. So you'll be making your garment this way, and then we'll make a neckline, and then we'll continue working to your other shoulder. And then we're going to do the sleeves. We're going to crochet the sleeves directly onto the top. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, so this is the first half of your sweater, the body of your sweater. So we made that long chain from starting here, going all the way over to the back. So you have your lengths front and back at the same time. All right, so now what I've done is I tried it on, and I clipped where my armhole should be, and then we will be sewing it down the edge to the bottom. We'll be making some kind of border. We'll be crocheting the sleeves on. You can make short sleeves or long sleeves, but as long as it meets about halfway, because now we're going to make the neckline, and then we're going to continue crocheting on the other side the same amount of rows that we did on this side. Okay, so mine measures, did I tell you? It measures about 10 inches from here to here. So about 10 inches. Okay, and the back is the same, of course. All right, so let's get on to making the neckline. And what I've done before we start on the neckline is I put a stitch marker about there, because I want my neckline my neck hole to be open a little bit in the back. I don't want it right up against my back of my neck. But if you do, that's fine. Put your stitch marker close to the back of your neck. And then I put a stitch marker down here because that's roughly where I want the V opening to be. Okay, and then, so that'll be open like a V. It's going to be in the center, you know, we'll make a chain that's going to go around our head and then reconnect at the back. You'll see. Oh, actually, your chain is gonna start. Well, it depends how you're putting your thing on, but this is the right side of the material. That's got to be showing, right? So I would make a chain, and where am I at? The chain is gonna go from there, and it's gonna go around here, and that's gonna reconnect here. But where I put my stitch marker. All right, but I'll show you all that. Okay. Okay, so I just made my row like we've been doing. Now I've come up to the stitch marker that's going to mark the back of my neck hole. Okay, so I'm just going to go right into that stitch marker and just make our regular stitch that we've been making all along. Now I need a chain that's going to make our neck hole. Okay, so my other stitch marker is right here. So that's going to be the size of my neck hole from here to here. So what I need to do is make a chain. All right, so our multiples were 3 originally, and they're going to be 3 for the neck hole. Okay, so let's see. Let's count how many I'm going to be skipping, how many of these groups of stitches we made. So I'm going to be skipping. Now it'll be different for you because we're all different sizes, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to be skipping 12. So what I'm going to do is 12 times 3 is 36. So I'm going to make a chain of 36. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, I have my chain of 36. Yours will be the number of little clusters you skipped times 3. Okay, I skipped 12, so times 3 is 36. So I made a chain of 36. And this is going to be our neck hole. All right, and so now I'm going to go into stitch marker that I put. This is the front of my neckline, so I'm just going to go right in there with just the regular stitch we've been making. So single crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Okay, then we'll jump to the next stitch and just make our regular stitch that we were making all the way down to the end, and then back up again to the chain. Did I chain 1? Yes. Back up to the chain, and then I'll show you what to do when we get back to the chain. Okay, now I've crocheted like we were normally doing right up to that where that stitch marker is, and I have a stitch in there, so I'm going to put the single crochet, chain 1, and double crochet in that stitch. We can actually remove that stitch marker. We don't need it there anymore. And now we're up to our chain. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and go into the third one with our stitch, our single crochet, chain 1, and our double crochet. Okay, and then we're going to skip 2 chains, go in the next one with our single crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And that's what we're going to do for this chain, just like in the beginning. Did I go out of shot there? Okay, skip 2 chains, go in the next one with your single crochet, chain 1, and then the double crochet. Skip 2 chains, go in the next one with your single crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Okay, so I'll meet you at the end of this chain. Now when you get to the end of that neckline chain, you will have 2 chains left. So skip over those. Go into that stitch on the other side of that chain. And put that single crochet, chain 1, double crochet in that stitch, and just continue along. Make your stitch like we've been doing all along, and make the same amount of, see, here's your neckline. Your head will go through here. Make the same amount of rows as you did on your first half of your sweater. We'll come and tidy up this neckline after. All right. I want to just try it on again to show you. Here's the chain. That's how low my neckline is going to be. Okay, and then that's how low it's going to be on the front. But you make it however low you want, or, you know, as long as your head fits through there, you're good. Okay. Before you sew up your sides, make sure you have the same amount of clusters around each armhole. Make sure you leave the same amount around each armhole. Okay, here we are. I've made the whole panel. We have a hole on the side for our arm. I've seamed up the edge all the way down. This is the neckline right here where it opens in the front, and then the back is a little higher up. And so now we're going to sew the other side together, just down here. Leave your armhole open, of course. I tried it on, and then I marked where my how big my hole should be, and so yeah, I marked it with a stitch marker, and then I tried it on after with the stitch marker in there, and it was about 1 inch too big. So then I moved it up around 1 inch, and now my armhole is going to be around 6 inches. And it won't be, it shouldn't be too tight, but your armhole will be different size than mine, probably, or maybe not. But I just don't want it to, I don't want to start off the sleeve being too big as we're crocheting the sleeve. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew up that, let's see, I guess I'll go this way. Sew up from the bottom. This is the bottom of our top. I'm going to use the mattress stitch. Okay, here's the bottom of my sweater. Normally I would start, I'd put it even, and then I'd start sewing up this way. And I actually started doing that, and I was recording it, and then I got a big knot in the yarn. It was like magic. It just all of a sudden appeared like a real knot. I don't know how it happened, but anyway, so I deleted that video. So what I'm going to do is, I got to switch this back to where I had it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do it from the armhole, but start at the bottom so you can make sure your bottom is going to be even. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, this is how I'm going to do it. This is the right side. I'm going to be working on the right side. So the wrong side is inside the middle here. So I'm going to start on the right side. Some people do that, and I don't know if it makes a difference, but we'll see. All right, so start on the right side. What I'm going to do is take my yarn. I'm going to be working in between, okay? I'm going to be going under those 2 stitches from the inside. And then I'm going to be going across to the other side. And going under those 2 stitches from the inside. Okay, we're going from the inside. Okay, I'm going to sew this end in later. Okay, so we came in the inside. Now we're going to go back to this piece over here, and we're going to go under the next 2 stitches. We're going from the inside. Okay. Going to go the next stitch on the other side and work from the inside. Go under both loops. Come back to this side and work from the inside. So you're working in between, going in your loops from in between your 2 pieces. It's kind of like when you're putting laces in your runners, in your shoes or boots. You would go from the inside. So where's that stitch at? Okay, so we go from the inside of the stitch across from it. Okay, then you go into your next stitch on this side, go under both those loops, working from the inside. Go to your next stitch, work from the inside of your, here's your inside, go from the inside. Come back over to this side, go from the inside under those 2 loops, pulling your yarn towards you. Go to your next stitch, go on the inside, pulling the yarn away from you. Go on the inside of your next stitch. Go across to your other panel. Go on the inside of the next stitch, always catching those 2 loops on either side. Okay, inside, go under those 2 loops. The other side, go under those 2 loops. Continue on doing that. Pull it a little to tighten it up, but not too tight. You don't want it all puckered. So that's what your seam is going to look like. So it's hardly noticeable. Let's take a look at the other side, because I am working on the right side. Let's see what the other side looks like. I don't think there's much of a difference, really. Well, actually, you can see these where I've sewn. So it's on the inside. So I think it does look nicer if you work on the outside, but it's totally up to you, totally up to you. I don't think anybody's going to be examining your your project that well, unless they are a crocheter themselves. All right, so I'm just going to continue doing that and show you how to finish it off. Now I'm at the end. I'm just pulling through the last stitch. Oh, I put one over here somewhere too. This is where I had started that seam, where I had to delete the video. I didn't want to cut my seam because I want to cut my actual sweater, right? Okay, so I did the last one. So now I'm just going to stick my needle through. I'm just going to put some kind of knot. I'm going to show you what this inside looks like as well. Just put a little knot. Okay, things kind of went wonky there. And then I'm just going to sew this in. So I'm on the inside now. Okay, cut this off. Okay, so this is how it looks on the outside, and from sewing it on the good side, the right side. This is our seam. Okay, move this up a bit. Let me show you from here. I have to sew this end here in too, but this is our seam going right down, all the way down. Okay, from the outside, working from the outside, the good side. And let's see, where are we? Right here. This is our seam on the inside. So I think it's a little more noticeable on the inside. You can see a few little loops there, you know, going along here. Okay, so let me show you again the other side. We made the seam on the outside, the good side, the right side. Okay, so our seam, you can see one there. I think that's a part of the seam. Yeah, you can actually see this line. Yeah, but I think it looks fine. What do you guys think? Actually, there's more of a line here than here. And this is where I had recorded and had to delete it because of the big knot I had. But anyway, I guess maybe either side doesn't really show the seam. So I don't think it really matters whether you go on the right side or the wrong side. What do you guys think? I always love to hear your opinion. Okay, so put a knot right in there. Go on the inside. I hope I was in camera. Gee. And then I'm going to just, you know, weave it in. I like to go one way and then the other way, sometimes 2 times, sometimes 3. I'm just going to do 2. And then it shouldn't work itself out at all. So there we go. So I did the same on the other side. And are we on the right side still? Yeah. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do are the sleeves. And then we're going to do some kind of little trim around the neckline, probably just a single crochet, and then do some kind of border around the bottom. All right, I'll be back. Now, before you make the sleeve, I just want to tell you that I did color control the sleeves in that I took 2 balls that started at the same color, and I just worked down and let the colors flow. Did that on both sleeves, so they're pretty well matching. And what I did was I marked each 10th row, so that was 10 rows there 10 rows there, so that's 20. 10 rows here, which is 30. And then when I got down to the, okay, I ended the 30th row, and then I went down a hook size from my 4.5. I went down to a 4mm. This is a 4mm. And I did 6 rows in a 4mm to help bring it in a little bit at my wrist, or just before my wrist area. And then, so this is, these are 6 rows between this one and this one. And then for the next 10 rows, and this is the last of the rows for my sleeve, I went down right here, I went down again to, I went down to a 3.5, and I'm leaving, let me see, just show you how I just completed the row, and I'm not putting an extra border. I think it looks good the way it is, but just to complete the row, I just slip stitched right into that chain 1 space. Okay, just a slip stitch and then a chain 1, and then just cut my yarn and sew in that end. And also I worked the sleeves at the same time. I don't know about you, but with me, I find it a little frustrating if I make a whole sleeve, then I think, oh, I gotta make another one. If I just work like 10 or 20 rows of the sleeve and then go do the other sleeve, 10 or 20 rows, to me it feels like I'm kind of beating time in a way. Do you know what I mean? Do you guys do that? So yeah, and then just pull that through and then sew in the end. But yeah, I'm just leaving the edging, you know, just like that. I think it looks good like that. And I did make my sleeve a little bit to go past my wrist just a little bit. I like them a little longer. Also, I did a total number of rows was 46 rows altogether. Now yours may be different lengths. You know, we all have different length arms, but I just want to tell you what I did. All right. Okay, my armhole consists of 20 of these clusters. Yours will be different probably, or maybe the same. It depends on the size of your arm. So all we're going to do is crochet clusters right into every one of these clusters. And I'm still using my 4.5mm hook. All right, so I'm going to start right at the bottom here. Let's see, where's my next cluster? Next cluster's there, so I'm just going to start right down here, right in the bottom of my armhole. So hook the yarn in there. Oops. Chain 1. Oh, come on. Chain 1. Go back in there with a single crochet. Chain 1, and then make your double crochet in the same spot. So all we're doing are the clusters. Putting a cluster into every cluster. For the pretty much for the length of your sleeve. Okay, in the next cluster, put a cluster. In the next cluster, put a cluster. All right, I'll meet you at the end of this row. I'm at the end of the first row of my sleeve. I'm just going to slip stitch right into that chain 1 space of my cluster. Just going to go right into it. Excuse me. Seriously, make a slip stitch, chain 1, and then go back in with my single crochet, chain 1, and the double crochet, just like before. Just make your clusters into the clusters. And what I'm going to do after I make 10 rows, or when I make 10 rows of my sleeve, I'm going to mark the 10th row with a stitch marker, so I don't have to recount my rows all the time. This way I can keep track and make sure I have the same amount of rows on each sleeve. I don't only have to count by tens. Okay, so continue doing that, making your clusters in your clusters. I'm using my 4.5 millimeter to make the trim around the neckline. Okay, let's make a little trim around the neckline. This is the back of the neckline. Front is on the other side. Okay, so I'm gonna just make the same little fans, clusters, whatever you like to call them. I'm just gonna make the same thing around this neckline. This is our chain, so I'm just gonna go right past that chain into the actual clusters. Or maybe I should call them fans. I don't know. Alright, so chain one. Go back in there with a single crochet. And a chain one, and then the double crochet. Now, the next one is right here. You can do a simple single crochet all the way around or whatever you like. And let's see, just space them out as evenly as possible. Okay, so when you get back to the beginning of your trim, I'm just going to slip stitch into that first little fan and chain one, and then cut my yarn and then sew it in later. Golly, I don't need these huge scissors. First ones I grabbed. Now there's the trim around the neckline up close. Now this is the bottom of our sweater. I'm going to put an edging on it. I'm going to use the same stitch that we've been using throughout as an edging. Okay, or you can do whatever edging you like. Okay, just gonna put my hook in here somewhere. I'm using the 4.5. So use whatever hook that you used for the body and the sleeves. The only time I changed hook size was when I got near the cuffs of this sleeve, or near the the wrist area. Okay, so chain one, and then we're just gonna do that same stitch we've been doing all along. Go in there with your single crochet, chain one, and then a double crochet. Now remember, when we were doing the stitches, we were skipping right at the very beginning. We were skipping 2. So we need to skip 2 spaces. So find, like say this could be a space, that could be a space, and then you're going to put your stitch into the next area there, goes through those. That is the half double crochet, I believe, at the end of the rows. Just put your hook in there, make your single crochet, chain one, and then double crochet. and then skip, maybe skip this, skip that, and then go into the next one, because you want to space these out about 2 stitches in between each one so that your edge doesn't get all ruffled, or, yeah, try and keep it nice and straight. I like to try to go under two strands there. And I'm probably going to make a few rows of this border. Yeah, so something like that. Like I said, you can put out whatever border you want. If you just want single crochets or double crochets, something fancy, whatever you'd like to do. All right, so I'm just going to continue doing that, and then I'm going to, when I come back around, I'll slip stitch into the top of that first stitch, and then I'll slip stitch into that chain 1. That's what I was doing before, into that chain 1, and then start the next row and just go on and on, make a few rows. All right, so after that we're gonna be pretty much done, except for sewing in the ends. And you're finished your beautiful sweater. If you like this tutorial, please subscribe, click like, leave me a comment. I love to hear what you have to say. And please share. Please share to my Facebook group, and also share on your social media. I would appreciate that very, very much. Thank you.